In 1950, Adidas releases a pair of football boots with a flat sole called the Samba. It was designed for footballers to be able to train and play on frozen outdoor pitches during the winter months. Over the years, it has been offered by the brand in different forms. What I have here is what they call the Samba Classic, effectively a modern remake of the OG, which features the signature leather upper, the suede toe overlay, the gum rubber sole, as well as the serrated Adi stripes, all for a very affordable price of $70 US. Fast forward to 2021, and we have a new interpretation of the classic Adidas Samba, this being the Samba Vegan, made from kale, made exclusively from materials that use no animal products whatsoever, including the glues as well as the dyes to color the boots, which of course means that this is not a leather upper. It's fully made out of synthetic, and it bears a retail price of $80 US. And please keep in mind that this video is not commentary on vegans or animal-based products, what's right, what's wrong. Even Adi as a brand still makes the leather Samba alongside this vegan variation. So when it comes to that sort of thing, you do you. What I want to focus on in this video, however, is in a hypothetical future of football boots turning vegan, can Adidas make a vegan variant of the Samba as good as the OG Classic? So with that idea in mind, we'll of course do a full technical breakdown of the boots. We'll take a look at how they fit and feel on feet, and ultimately conclude how close the Samba Vegan comes to the OG non-vegan version. Nonetheless, if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire review. And if you are interested in a pair for yourself, the Samba Vegan is available in black or white, the white definitely being more true to the original colorway of the Samba Classic. You can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll be able to pick them up for $80 or potentially a little bit less, because I think this is exclusive to Adidas and they don't give discounts on Sambas usually. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and perhaps want to see more reviews of indoors or just football inspired sneakers in general, don't forget to support this video with a like and let me know specifically what you'd like to see down below in the comment section. And I've also noticed that a lot of you guys who watch these videos aren't actually subscribed to the channel. If that's you, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when my next new video goes live. Let's talk about looks, because while they are very similar in terms of overall design, there are some significant differences if you're very familiar with the Samba Classic. Now, of course, these are both the black and white colorways, and obviously on a regular Samba Classic, you have a black upper with a black suede toe, the Adi stripes in white, and then the Samba branding there in metallic gold, not to mention the white detail on the heel. And then something that is kind of exclusive to the Samba Classic, because there's a bunch of different Sambas you can get. You do get this extended fold over tongue that you can choose to fold over. You can cut it off because it's kind of made out of a foam with a felt on the backside. Normally I would cut these off just because I don't like the extra extension piece. Nonetheless, it's a very iconic and classic look. Of course, all tied together with this brown gum rubber sole. Now the vegan version does do a little bit of a twist on the black colorway because it does not feature black on black suede. And this technically isn't suede. It almost looks like more of a tennis ball material, but it has this kind of undyed gray color, which I personally really think looks quite cool, but that's totally a matter of opinion. I'm curious to hear the comment section's opinion on the way this looks. Everything else though is pretty similar to the OG. One very subtle difference, and I'm not sure why they would have done this. You can see the Classic has this kind of rounded shape to the top of the heel area, where the Samba Vegan is a little bit more squared off. Kind of an interesting design choice. And then of course you do get the shortened tongue, so basically pre-cut, and it does have the Adidas Originals blue logo there on the front, because this is technically not a performance product, although ultimately very similar to other versions of the Samba, including the Classic. And then it does feature a gum rubber sole, although this does have a little bit of a different color to it, where you can see it's almost more gummy and slightly translucent, where the Classic is more of a solid brown. In terms of actual traction and feel though, they feel pretty much the same to me. Regardless of your opinion on the look, the Samba really is the ultimate footballer sneaker, and probably the only football shoe that I would personally wear casually, because nobody wants to be the guy wearing a pair of indoor Mercurials with a pair of jeans. Let's talk about weight, because these do feature very different materials, especially when you're talking about the upper, leather versus synthetic. What's the weight difference? Keep in mind that these are a size 9 and these are a size 9.5, so it's not a perfect comparison, but nonetheless, you guys will get an idea here. The Samba Classic in a size 9 weighs in at a hefty 13 ounces, the equivalent of 369 grams, which is not very lightweight, but you probably weren't expecting them to be light. Then, the Samba Vegan, they weigh in a size 9.5 US at 11.3 ounces, the equivalent of 321 grams. So there is a fairly significant weight difference between the two, obviously with the Samba Vegan being lighter, and that's not that surprising considering how much thinner and arguably cheaper the upper feels, but I guess if you just want a lighter version of the Samba, then the Samba Vegan kind of wins. Which brings us to what I believe is really the biggest difference between these two from a feel perspective, and that is the uppers, where of course the Samba Classic features a full leather upper with the Adi stripes over top as somewhat of a reinforcement and a design element. You have the suede overlay here on the toe that runs alongside the forefoot, and then you have the foam and felt tongue that just has that classic feel to it that so many people love, and honestly still feels great today. You really can't beat a leather football boot when it comes to feel. The Samba Vegan, however, as the name would suggest, does not feature any leather because leather comes from an animal. It is the skin of an animal, and I believe if you're wondering about the specific leather used on this, I'm going to assume it's some kind of a calf skin, but Adi themselves never really specify that on the modern Samba Classic. So that's kind of up in the air as far as what specific type of leather it is. Nonetheless, the Samba Vegan uses a polyurethane coated synthetic material that of course is free of any form of animal product. It does have that artificial leather grain finish on it, but it is purely artificial. It's man-made. They've just stamped it in to the surface of the material. And then you do have what appears to be a suede overlay, but instead it's made from a material that does mimic the feel of suede slightly in terms of texture, but ultimately is kind of like the finish of a slightly worn out tennis ball. It's the best way that I can describe it. And from a feel perspective, when you're comparing this to the Samba Classic, this synthetic upper is just a lot thinner and it's way more flexible out of the box, which I think for a lot of people, if you're coming from a really thin modern style of football boot, which I think most people are, and you want a Samba that's going to feel more similar to that, you might actually prefer the thinner, more flexible sensation out of the box that you're going to get from the Samba Vegan. And then as far as the tongue is concerned, it features more of that synthetic leather material with kind of a solid synthetic liner on the underside, which honestly, I just don't think feels nearly as good as the OG. And it's also worth noting that they have swapped out kind of the more classic style laces for something a lot more modern, which personally I'm a fan of, although the classic ones do look quite good on what is a very classic design in the Samba Classic. But as an overall product, I have to say I'm kind of impressed with how decent this synthetic upper feels. Moving to the rear, of course, these are both low-cut boots, and then like I mentioned, the actual cut at the very back of the Achilles tendon is a little bit different between the two, although I wouldn't say that's super noticeable when you're actually playing in the boots. They do have the extra vegan stamping here on the heel on the Samba Vegan. And then something that is a significant difference is the heel lining, where on the Samba Classic, it has this really soft kind of mesh type material. It's the best way I can describe it. It's a little bit slippery depending on which socks you're wearing, but it's extremely comfortable and there's plenty of padding back there. Again, lends itself very well to casual wear, which is how I think a lot of people wear Samba Classics these days. And then the Samba Vegan features a synthetic leather liner material with significantly less padding to it. That is not uncomfortable. It certainly grips your socks a little bit better, but from a comfort perspective, if I'm picking out of these two, I just prefer the heel liner on the Samba Classic. And then the insole, it's fully glued in on both of them. It's a straight up foam material, completely flat, that you just cut the shape and then glue in place. Really nothing that is spectacular about either of them. And then as far as the outsole and midsole is concerned, they feel pretty much the same to me. They both feature an internal foam midsole that's relatively thin and just maintains a nice low profile feel to both of these boots, so you're very close to the ground, although there isn't a ton of underfoot cushioning to be expected from a boot that originates from 1950. And then the gum rubber outsole, in my opinion, is still one of the best in the business as far as indoor traction is concerned. And I think part of the reason why is because of how broken up this design is, especially through the heel. It's not completely flat. You have these kind of little suction cups here in the forefoot, and there's just plenty of breaks in the traction pattern. So if you do end up playing on an indoor court that's extremely dusty, which is most of the indoor courts that I've played on, it's very easy to wipe off and maintain decent traction as long as you continually wipe. And as far as durability is concerned, especially for use on concrete or in the streets or something like that, again, especially for casual wear, they're just extremely durable. You have this big rubber lip going around the outside of the entire boot, and overall, it's just a really good outsole. And as far as the difference in color and compound is concerned, I can't feel a difference. I'm not sure if there is a difference. I'm not sure if the coloring is just has to do with the dyes that they've used being different on the vegan variation. But as far as I can tell, the midsoles and outsoles on both of these feel pretty well the same. So here they are on feet, and I must say I've always been a big fan of the Samba when it comes to general styling, especially for casual wear. And obviously with this Samba Vegan in the black and white, you do get the remix with the gray at the toe, which I personally think looks really cool, but I can understand why some people would absolutely hate it. And I've paired them up with some Pure Socks Classic in white, which for those that don't know, it's my own brand of socks, obviously Pure Grip Socks. We strive to make the most affordable grip sock possible, but I also realize that there's lots of people that don't necessarily want grip socks, but they want good quality socks that are also affordable. That's how these came to be. It's a cotton-based sock with all of the modern construction from Pure Grip Socks that are available for the very affordable price of just $6.99 a pair. If you're interested in trying some out for yourself, the website to go to is puregripsocks.com, which of course will be linked down below. Now, as far as how these fit and feel on feet, the midsole and outsole, like I mentioned earlier, feels pretty well the same to me, so no major difference there. The heel liner is a synthetic leather, so it does grip your sock a little bit better, although in general, it's relatively slick against almost any surface that you put it against, unless of course you are wearing some grip socks as an example. And then the upper, I think that's the noticeable difference here, where it just feels thinner and more flexible than what you're gonna find from the Samba Classic with its leather upper construction, especially out of the box. The thing is that once you break in a pair of Samba Classics, that leather upper just gets so soft and it feels so right on your feet. And honestly, this just feels like it's a little bit lacking in terms of overall structure, which is kind of unfair for me to say because I really feel like the Samba Vegan was more geared towards casual wear more than anything. But if you did want to play in these, tie the laces up tight and they're definitely very usable. Again, better than I was expecting them to feel, but in my opinion, not as nice as the leather upper of the Samba Classic. From a width perspective, it's a classic Samba. It's gonna fit just about anybody. So even if you do have wide feet, I think this is an appropriate pair of sneakers to choose. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, should you spend the extra $10 on the Samba Vegan over the Samba Classic? And I think the answer to that question does depend on A, whether or not you're vegan. If you've answered yes to that question, then yes, you should buy the Samba Vegan. B, if you do happen to like the look of the Samba Vegan, that is a little bit more streamlined. It's certainly thinner, it's a little bit lighter. Obviously in this black colorway, you do get the contrast here in the toe, which I personally think looks quite cool, then yeah, you should buy the Samba Vegan. If you actually intend on playing in the boots and you really don't care about the vegan thing, then I would probably save the 10 bucks and go for the Samba Classic. For me, the leather upper just feels better. It does require a little bit more in the way of break-in time, but once broken in, the comfort I think is better. The touch on the ball I definitely think is better. And in terms of long-term durability, which is something that's always very difficult for me to comment on, I just have more faith in what's proven and what's been around for so long in the Samba Classic over the Samba Vegan. What I think Adi have proved with this particular project though is should football boots or football shoes, whatever you want to classify these, go entirely vegan at some point in the future, there's hope. Anyways guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself in either the black or white colorway, first link down below, go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions or opinions of your own on the Samba Vegan, leave it down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.